The project build that I'm going to talk you through today was deceptively complicated. Quite a simple design, solid oak, 32mm thick, with a stain applied to it. No screw fixings, all hidden fixings, which we did with Festool dominoes. Starting from the beginning, the customer approached me and wanted something to fill this space at the end of this room, which she sees through the kitchen. And she showed me this photo of something she'd found on house.co.uk by someone else, which she wanted to approximately match up to. So when I went to survey the space, I took some time to draw out the room as existing and the furniture, because she was emphasising how she wanted this view through the kitchen doors there that you can see at the front here. She wanted it to fit well in that view and to fill the end of the room, and she had this real vision of how it needed to look from that aspect. So we worked together on a design. I won't talk you through all of that because it was essentially similar to the one she first showed us, but tweaked in proportions, and we were checking that the TV would fit that she's got, and certain things she wanted to store would fit, and various other details, as there always are. How's it going to fit into the room? How's it going to sit tight to the wall, clearing the skirting? And this was a little unusual for us, this project, in that it was semi-fitted really, more of a freestanding piece, but designed for the space. And there you see how we just considered the skirting, considering also cable access for the TV and a Virgin Media box that just sits below there with cutouts and that sort of thing. So very often something that is superficially simple does take a lot of thought, both in how it accommodates the customer's needs, but then in how we build it. And as I said earlier, this one did catch us out because it would appear to just be a lot of rectangular boards jointed together. But there was something more to it than that. Here's a little view of the workshop if you haven't seen my other videos showing where we work. I wanted to just show you this space, which is to the right, to the side of the space you just saw. This was our sort of loading area where we get stuff ready to go in the van that we've just walked through. Now here is our spray painting with the extractor, spray painting area there, the little platform we spin things around to spray, and our drying area. Now this is just a lean-to structure with a tarpaulin roof, and this project was being produced in January in England, and as most of you watching will know, it's been a very cold January, and this caused no end of trouble with our finishes. So you saw there the stain we used. It's a water-based stain. We had a lot of hold-ups relating to the wood finishing process, and I'll try and cover it briefly. First one, we had these water spots appearing as a result of condensation in the very cold temperatures. We had to restain everything to flush it back out, and when we restained it, we added a little bit of water-based acrylic varnish, which then helps to fix the stain in on the second attempt. We also then slightly altered the finishing process. It was going to just be a wax finish, which the customer wanted, but we added a step of a hard wax oil to again fix the colour a bit more, but also to avoid issues with when we were gluing up later, having to wipe off any excess glue and that risking wiping off the water-based stain. So we were juggling a few competing demands in terms of the finish the customer wanted, the temperature, and the whole glue up process. We also created these jigs which helped to stand the boards on edge such that they could be finished on both sides and a front edge in one go, and then stood up to dry under infrared heaters in the workshop. Before I describe further the assembly that you're starting to see, let me just say that the oak we used for this, we buy this in as sheets, pre-edge glued as fairly wide staves, solid oak, finished to 32mm thickness. We then cut it according to our cutting lists on the table saw and the mitre saw, sometimes with the rail saw as well. And we find this is more efficient for us than buying in rough sawn timber, planing it ourselves, edge gluing it, etc. And it gives the customer as good, if not a better, finished product. Something I didn't catch on camera was the dry fit. Prior to this whole staining process, we did the joints for the dominoes, that's the loose tenon system, and we dry assembled without glue everything to check that it would go together. From experience, we found when you've got shelves and dividers alternating, you can easily get cumulative errors that lead to the joints not quite lining up. So we established that everything would go together, and then we worked on the basis that if we did the fine finish sanding after that dry fit, and then did the finishing process, the staining and the hard wax oil, etc., we'd sort of be taking off a tiny amount of thickness and adding on a tiny amount of thickness, and it would near enough balance out so that everything should still precisely fit. The most difficult things to assemble were the large units either side with the most shelves and dividers, and it required quite a methodical approach. So we started by joining together, gluing up and clamping square the dividers to the shelves, one divider to one shelf, and then we laid them out in the arrangement they would go in on the workbench, then set up some trestles with cross pieces of timber which allowed easier access for clamps going all round, and then started to assemble those shelves from top to bottom with the dividers, clamping them together. We then put a side on, loose fit it just as a way of locating the shelves and checking, span it round onto that side, and then put the other side on with glue into the dominoes. And some of these photos are just showing you the amount of glue we used on dominoes, that sort of thing. We were trying to not have too much squeeze out that required clean up, and we had, as you've seen, we had also masked off the domino holes for the whole of the staining and finishing process to be sure that the timber was uncoated so that the glue would take to it well. So we were relying largely on the dominoes themselves to do the work of the joint, and not so much on the length of the joint where it meets timber to timber. Regarding the glue that we used, we settled on our preferred Gorilla wood glue, which we've been using since we discovered it as an alternative to Titebond because it's more widely available. It's a water-based glue, and we were considering substituting it for Cascamide, which is a powdered resin that you mix up with water, and it sets rock solid. I used it 10 years ago on those old trestles that you're seeing supporting the large assembly, and it's so solid. It's a great glue, but it's more hassle to mix up. And what we found was, although it had some benefits in that it has a slower initial grab, which we thought might be beneficial in doing the final assembly in case we had to make adjustments, we found it was just too slow to take the clamps off from some test pieces we did, and we also felt that it was too thick and harder to neatly get into the domino holes, and we thought it was going to be a messier clean-up, and we were already concerned about the clean-up affecting the wood finish. We were a bit worried about the water-based glue setting as hard as it should in the sub 5 degrees centigrade temperatures, but again, on doing some test pieces, we felt that it did grab perfectly well enough, and it was the best compromise in the circumstances. Fortunately, it also didn't have as quick of an initial grab as it would in warmer temperature, and that was fortunate because on the first of the large units that we glued up, we discovered a mistake which confused us at first because we knew all the parts had gone together on the initial dry fit, but we found that we couldn't get the side on because the shelf that you see in this drawing that's second from the top or second from the left as it's laid down like that, it's rotationally symmetrical, so it could fit either way to the dividers above and below. However, the end holes for the dominoes are referenced off one face. That's how you do it with the domino jointer, so they're much closer to one of the faces of the shelf. So they were lined up to go into these side pieces at that position, but when it was accidentally rotated, we didn't notice it because everything went together okay with the dividers until the sides tried to go on and the holes weren't matching up. So luckily we were able to take the parts out, clean them off, re-drill holes where they should be, as you can see in this photo, and re-glue, and everything went back together okay. The leg frames were screwed onto the short units. We did a test assembly of the whole run, but I didn't get a usable photo of that. And we also applied a final finishing wax polish to everything, but it still left it with a fairly low sheen, which was what the customer had wanted. We then loaded everything carefully into the van, making sure it was well packed, took it to the house for installation. Once everything was completed, the customer was extremely pleased with the result. The colour was thankfully just as she had hoped, and she seemed very impressed with the line-up of the joints, which she had had some queries about early on. She had been very understanding throughout the whole process with the delays, and we had kept her informed and tried to balance letting her know there were some issues, but that we were dealing with them and not giving unnecessary technical information. I do often feel a great sense of gratitude for how customers place trust in us, and then at the end of the process a great sense of relief and satisfaction when all has gone well. And what drives us as a staff team here at Freebird is the improvements that we hope in some small way we're making to people's lives, because we know that people come to us with a problem to be solved that they can't solve by buying an off-the-shelf piece of furniture. And that may be something relatively minor, just completing a room. In some cases, it may be helping them transition through a life change, or having kids and needing more storage, all sorts of things. Lots of stories we've had of customers that I could go into perhaps some other time, of how fitted furniture has in some way enhanced or eased their life. So that's what we love to do. And if you're someone watching this who's considering having fitted furniture, do get in touch. I hope we can help you. If you're a maker, and I think probably most of the people watching this are other makers, and I slightly cater what I say to the makers and the technical issues, do comment, do feedback. As always, I do welcome all your comments, and thank you for watching.